Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Odie here for another wrap-up of the Charters Towers store sale. For the 15th of October this week, we've only got one sale, so we've had a prime and store sale here in the Towers today. Combined age and chartered about 3,250 head. There's about 2,400 prime cattle and about 850 store cattle on offer. So that prime job pretty similar to last week. Might have been a few categories that were slightly easier, but I would say once again that we have been seeing towards the back end of the year probably quality related, just not as many heavy runs of cattle, but some isolated pens of very, very good quality cattle that probably sold to a relatively firm market on last week. So the best of those bullocks there today, we had them from Long Gully Station, the LG Grazing. The best of those bullocks topped out at 420 cents there today. For some, they were HCP treated actually, but big heavy bullocks. I think they averaged about 650 kilos in the lead of them there, a couple of those heavy pens. But the better end of those heavy bullocks in those real plumb crisp articles, they were kind of 410 to 415 cents. Any of those heavyweight, well-finished bullocks, though, making $3.90 to $4 most of the day. Come down to them lighter-weight, slippery bullocks, pretty similar last week, kind of making $3.70 to $3.90 for those better, even those lighter end bullocks, but they just got to be finished and full. So that was probably the bullock job there today. Might have been slightly easier on the average, but quality related. Heifers quoted probably 5 or 10 dearer. I would have thought there was. Probably in the run of heavy cattle there today, there was probably some better runs of really good quality heavy heifers on offer. There was two runs of good quality heifers there. One particularly the Matthews. Out of the west there, some really good kind of red Brahman and Droughtmaster Sandry cross type heifers. They were all HGP free, kind of 420 kilo heifers. They get the 380 odd cents there, or 378, 380 cents for the best of those. So that job there for those really good quality, well finished cattle was very, very strong compared to last week. Coming off those heavier end of those heifers, any of those heifers with a bit of weight nudging 400 kilos or better, they were making anywhere from kind of 340 to 350 cents. Come down off those lighter end heifers, they were kind of anywhere from 320 to 330. I'd say majority of those heifers today kind of $3 to $3.30 in those slippery articles in that kill heifer job. Cows today, the heavy end of those cows, I would say pretty close to firm, maybe a little bit easier on those heavyweight cows, but not any real big runs of big heavy finished cows. There was only isolated pens of heavy kill cows there available today. They got it was 350 cents once again for some LG Grazing cows there as well. Plenty of those heavy kill cows at the lead of those runs of cows though, making anywhere from $3.25 to $3.35. The better end of their cows nudging 40 and 45 as well, so them big heavy kill cows. Coming down off that, you get into the mid-run of those cows. Those cows that presented, those slippery cows that had enough cover on them and heavy enough for a good heavy kill job at the top of that grid were making kind of $3 to $3.20 most of the day. Come down into those greasy cows that just had enough, that were on the boundary of those kill, slippery type cows making, $2.80 to $3. Your genuine store cows there today, the very, very lead of those, kind of 260, minor nudge 70, but yeah, kind of processors active on those, doing a trim job as well as a few restockers going back to the paddock for those better end store cows. In the mid-range run of those cows, those heavier, framier type cows, they were kind of 240 to 260 cents most of the day for the lead of those, but the bottom end of those store cows, anywhere from $1.80 to $2.20 in places there as well. Bulls pretty firm on last week, the best of those 340 cents, but plenty of those heavyweight kill bulls, whether you go back to a boat or the processor, 320 to 330 cents in that job. So there's about 850 store cattle on offer there today, and I tell you what, apart from one run of lightweight weaner heifers, there probably wasn't very many good quality runs of cattle on offer. A very mixy yarding of cattle with not too much really on display there. A lot of cattle kind of in that, they're either light or kind of out of spec in a funny weight range there as well. So a pretty mixy yarding of store cattle there. There's about 400 steers and about 450 heifers there as well. So didn't matter whether a steer was 180 or 380 kilos. The best of those today got out to about 378 cents. Seemed to be the market there. But plenty of those steers there today making 340 to 350 cents for what was there in the better end of a boat type steer. But a few of those cattle there as well in that steer article still kind of you know, there were steers there today kind of making 280 to $3 there as well. So, but yeah, pretty mixy yarding run of cattle there, and probably not enough to really get a run at any time, whether it was a feeder or a boat steer or a weaner to go back. Probably wasn't much of anything there as such to get a run on. The heifer job though, probably the highlight of the store job there. Conji Boy lined up a great run of heifers there. They're a pretty picture of great Brahman heifers. You know, they've got a reputation. The best of those out to 360 cents there for about 200 kilos there. I would have thought they would have been across the run. So yeah, those really good quality lightweight store heifers still selling to a good market. Coming off that particular run of heifers there though, sticky enough in places for a plain or probably yarding of heifers. In that lightweight job, some of those heifers back down into sub $2, but in those lighter weight articles, but a lot of heifers there today, 220 to 250 cents. Anything that was a feeder weight article kind of up in around $3.20, $3.30 for a heavyweight, whether it was a Brahman or crossbred, didn't really matter as long as you had the weight there. Come down in those mid-range kind of sub 300 kilos. Yeah, you know, they were bumping in $2.60 to 280 cents. That's probably a wrap up of today's market, ladies and gentlemen. We have got 2 sales next week that are at the moment looking like they're pretty full. We've got about 3,200 prime cattle on the books for Wednesday and about 4,000 store cattle on Friday. So if you're chasing anything or need help with marketing a few cattle, make sure you get in touch with the Queensland Rural team. We'll be sure to help you out. See you all next week. Thank you.